One of the great things about preparing for independent church ministry is that there is no one set route to follow. That means that you can carefully choose a training route which suits you best. However, perhaps most importantly of all, remember that any training you undertake needs to be part of a mindset of ongoing training. It's not a question of train, qualify, and then you're done. Ministry is a lifetime of learning, growing, and serving. Nevertheless, a good training period going into ministry can set you up well for a lifetime of service. And it's brilliant that here in the UK there are lots of different options that you can pursue. But how on earth can you choose between them? Well, here are a few things to think about. First of all, don't make the choice on your own. You belong to a local church, and even if your church is not in a position to fund all your training, you should be making decisions with them and not alone. And this strong doctrine of the local church is also important when it comes to choosing a particular college or course. Make sure that the place you select has a robust and healthy theology of the local church. Do they see their role as serving the local church, or are they more interested in setting the agenda? How will you, especially if you go away to study, maintain this local church involvement? That's a critical issue. A second tip is this: choose training which reflects the nature of real church work. Make sure it majors on the things that feature most in ministry. For starters, that means preaching and pastoral work. Don't choose somewhere which sees those things as just nice to haves. They need to be at the core of your training because they're at the core of your ministry. Then a word about breadth. You need to be trained by those who respect your particular theological position. I think it's a fool's errand to think you can convert a liberal establishment. Don't even try. Find out what the course beliefs are and make sure you're happy with them. But equally, go for somewhere where there is some stretching breadth so that you will be challenged, always assuming that the breadth comes from secondary issues and not primary ones. In other words, you're looking for somewhere that accepts and rejoices in your boundaries, but includes others who will get you thinking outside of the box. That balance needs some wise thinking, but it's worth bearing in mind. Then there are some practical considerations, of course. These include cost, location, full-time versus part-time, church-based versus college-based, whether you have a family because it may be difficult to move them all, the length of the course, how it will fit in with church or work life, whether it leads to a recognised qualification and so on. All these need to be part of your decision. Find people who have done the course and ask them some hard questions. That's a great idea. How did it work? How did life shape up? How did the family cope? What would they do differently? But above all, plan to enjoy it. Even though ministry is a lifetime of learning, this opportunity to train now is almost certainly a one-off. So plan to get the most out of it and plan to enjoy it. I've done 3 lots of training in my career. The first 2 were business related and necessary, and they were, to be honest, a bit of a chore. But I loved training for ministry and would not have swapped it for anything. And I hope you feel the same.